Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name's Molly, and today I'm going to be watching, reacting to, and reviewing Season 1, Episode 8 of The Expanse. So before I get into The Expanse, I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who has signed on to my Patreon to support me, as well as anybody who has just come onto YouTube and subscribed to my channel, or liked one of my videos, or commented, had a discussion, anything in the discussion comment section. I really do appreciate everyone's support and enthusiasm for this show. It's fantastic. I love being a part of a community of fans who are so really interested in all the intricate details of the world that the show takes place in. So yeah, just thank you very much, and keep those comments and questions coming, please. It's a lot of fun for me to interact with you guys. Alright, so other than that, I'm just going to very briefly touch upon the end of the last episode, because I already covered that in quite a lot of detail in my previous reaction, and I really want to get into and see what happens here. So just as a quick reminder, Miller is now on his way to Eros. He's looking for Julie. He's been fired, you know, he's lost a lot of things about himself, including his sense of who he was and, you know, what he was capable of, maybe what his life's purpose was. He's really off balance quite a bit, and now he's just out to find Julie himself. That is his goal. So he's off on his own, no more police support power anymore, but he's got a lot of the pieces, a lot of the important information he has put together, even more so than anyone else in the story so far. And then last time we also saw, as the crew of the Rocinante and a stowaway were on their way to complete a mission for Fred Johnson, they came up and were almost boarded by a Martian ship, and in the process we saw quite a bit of a conflict occurring between Amos and Holden, which gave us, I think, a little bit more insight into both of their personalities, their overall beliefs. And, you know, now we have to see what's going to happen in the aftermath of that conflict. Luckily, it didn't fully come to a head because the Martians didn't board the ship, so we didn't have to see, you know, if Amos shot them, would Holden have shot Amos? I don't think there's any reason to doubt that Amos would have shot the Martians, but whether or not Holden would have gone through with his threat to shoot Amos is another question, something I'm not quite as sure about. So yeah, so now we're left kind of wondering what's going to happen with the crew. Is the crew going to fall apart in the aftermath of this? And then on top of that, they're still dealing with this mission that they're on, and having a stowaway on board who was a spy for Avasarala, who we saw go and speak to Holden's mother to try and gain some insight into him, which she did, and again, I think we all did. And she came away with it with a strong belief that Holden was not a terrorist or responsible for any of the carnage that has occurred, which, you know, maybe indirectly he is somewhat responsible for things that have happened, but no, he's not actively trying to cause harm. Nonetheless, Avasarala is informed that the UN is sending a hit squad to try and take him out. So that's where we are. That's everyone's in motion. All the pieces are coming together. And as I said, there's quite a bit of conflict among the Rossi crew at the moment, which is making me a little bit stressed out. So hoping that they can work everything out, find some sort of maybe middle ground, or understand one another's position a little better. But I guess we'll see. All right. So with all that being said, let's get going with episode 8. Here we go. Really? He's never been in space before.
Yep.
He's never left Sirius.
You develop a natural agoraphobia from living underground in the tunnels, you know, used to the wide open spaces.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Used to this guy. He spends a lot more time working underneath things than he does on top.
True faith is a risk. You know, and with great risk comes...
Yeah, I know, risks.
Faith. Doesn't seem like something that's been a particularly large part of Miller's life
Getting out at just the right time.
in any sort of way. And I don't just mean religious faith, the concept of just having faith And I can relate to that, you know, I try to have as much information as possible, and I like to be in control of what's going on in my world, rather than just putting faith in things.
Bravo Alpha 834024112.
Might not be the healthiest way to be, might be kind of
Nothing.
stress-inducing, but...
These were the coordinates we were given.
It's just a rock.
Yep. That's a stealth ship.
It's some sweet parking job. It's barely registering on the scopes.
It's a stealth ship.
Just like the ones that killed the Donager.
These.
Yeah, well, this time we got guns of our own. Suit up. You're coming with us. Walk light and meet your new bodyguard. He so much as breaks his toenail. You're hitchhiking home from this rock. Sure thing, Skip.
Okay, I was gonna say, so maybe relations have improved a little bit in between episodes, but clearly not. He's just handing him off to Amos for practical purposes because he knows the guy's gonna be scared of him, I guess, but doesn't actually want Amos to do anything. What if the guy tries something? Amos is obviously gonna do something.
You seen our suit cams?
Sounds kind of like you just want a good excuse to get him off the ship, Holden.
Yep. All video feeds are looking good.
To the camp to make friends.
Why did you sign on to the cam?
I wouldn't have to have conversations like this one. It's a strange time to be chatty.
I was gonna say that.
Strange times. What?
Remember McDowell's glass cats? Those figurines in his office?
Yeah.
One time late shift, I caught him like petting them. He said he was cleaning them and that they were investment grade antiques.
I really wish I'd gotten that story. By the way,
Julie. Maybe Julie is alive.
Flight deck is clear.
Huh. It's an unexpected development.
Naomi?
That's a thing. That's a thing!
What the hell is that?
Okay, time to go. They need to leave now. No, no, no. Why did you cut now? I need to see them leave that ship.
4 hours ago. They wanted to know why a UNN battleship was headed straight for them. What were they told? Plausible story about.
This is such the wrong decision. I mean, I understand that they couldn't possibly know.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Nothing even close.
But still, that to me would be enough to, like,
Stealth tech stuff. And
not
none of
just
it's
fly up to it.
The ship was vented.
That's an
Because
interesting
it works too.
choice for the ship's name.
Okay, people, let's review.
Now that you pointed that out.
Boards the scapula. Uses it as bait to nuke the cans.
That space is the crew, except for Lionel Polanski, who somehow survives, gets control, and then
He powers down, vents the ship, and then leaves a nuclear missile, state-of-the-art stealth fighter, tied to a rock.
Yeah,
that makes sense to anybody. Ship's in
'Cause of that
condition.
thing.
Why would he just leave?
because Julie didn't want to get eaten by that thing.
Hey guys, I just accessed the navs.
Whoever was on this ship was headed to Heroes from Phoebe Station.
Phoebe.
Hmm.
Lopez said they found everyone Phoebe dead. Some toxic spill or something. Maybe this is what he was talking about.
It is definitely what he was talking about.
I'm getting a real bad feeling about this.
Yes, time to go.
Hold them behind you!
Jesus.
Back off! We're coming in!
Naomi, what's going on?
I think it's absorbing energy from the reactor, shutting everything down.
So that's why they said
What happened?
it was intentionally shut down. Dewey. Oh, smart.
That ship.
Thank
A
you.
bargaining ship. Why would you
No.
destroy something you control? Because that ship is a weapon. And that thing on it
It's
felt
some
like
sort of
weapon. And I don't think
monster.
Johnson or Earth or Mars or anybody should have it.
You know what,
Torpedoes
Holden?
armed and ready.
Holden, I 100% agree with you right now. I'm on Team Holden this episode.
Like a feather.
Sammy, you seem sober.
Oh, it's his
Must be a
friend,
surprising
Art.
night. I was chasing down the lead. Judging by the football
His
on
name's
the
not
compass,
Art.
it's best I'd say you were stomping on a lead. Why are you on Heroes?
Well, it's not official business or anything. Actually, I'm not officially employed.
No, this just keeps getting better and better. Open the door.
Oh,
I'm taking this one for a walk.
Miller has a friend. I mean, I know that, like, Musk obviously cared for him, and
Where's my damn hat?
you gave him the hat?
It tells you that this girl's looking to get rescued. She could be hardcore OPA, who helped bomb those ships to start a goddamn war. Who put a bullet in your head the minute you knock on her door.
Yeah, she might.
But you're still gonna pull on that thread, aren't you? No matter what I say. No matter what you unravel.
I believe in her. That's all I got. That's all I got.
Hmm. I just
I'm
feel
crazy.
like for Miller, that's a really big thing.
James Holden. Should just follow you around, don't it, kid? You a cop? Not anymore. Falcon shots fired, a bunch of dead bodies, so I sure hope it's you. It's just that call.
Just clean up all these bodies.
We need to talk. Who the hell are you? And what are you doing here?
I'm going up to room 22. Now, any second, there's going to be another group of thugs coming through that door, this time with badges. Touch me again. There's going to be another body on the floor.
You're just gonna leave us there with that? How can you, oh my god. Oh my god. Alright, I'm a bit upset right now. I mean, shit. it's like, I expected she was going to be dead pretty much from the beginning. And then this episode makes me think that there's a chance that she actually is alive, and it builds up and up and up with everything that Holden and the crew are discovering about the ship. And then, like, we find out she literally was there alive because Miller's friend has video of her. So he gets so close, and then he gets there, and she's dead. Like, I was prepared for Julie to be dead, and I was sure that, you know, that wasn't gonna go over well for Miller, but the way that they just built it up this episode to make, I guess, the audience have some hope. And I feel like, you know, maybe it probably parallels with what Miller was thinking, because he saw that video too, and he now had real hope that she was alive, he was going to find her, or probably thought that he had found her, and then hit us with that, just crush us. So, I mean, I guess it's smart because I'm really upset right now, and I don't really know Julie as a character that well. You know, you've just seen bits and pieces of her as Miller's gone through the investigation, and then the stuff from the beginning, but so I don't think I would have been as upset if all of that hadn't happened, so I guess that's good job. Good writing and directing there, showrunners. Well done. But, yeah. So, that was unfortunate. Alright, so let me think back to the beginning. So, the beginning. We see Miller on the transport ship. He's on his way to Eros, and he's talking to the Mormon, I guess the Mormon missionary, who's out saying he's selling the message of Jesus Christ, and they're talking about how they're going to go on the Nauvoo, and the kind of faith you have to put into something like that to get yourself and all your relatives and community together on this ship and just go out on a ship for your entire life, and probably the life of your children, just in the hopes that you will find this other planet that maybe is habitable, habited by some other intelligent life form, and you can spread the message of Jesus Christ, and the level of, like, faith and belief that you'd have to have in order to do that. And Miller's kind of, like, blown away by that idea, especially because he says, well, doesn't that frighten you? And then the Mormon missionary says, well, yes, of course it frightens me, but that's part of it. That's part of belief. And you get the sense from everything that Miller is saying, as I kind of mentioned during my reaction, that he's not someone that's ever had that kind of belief or faith. Really, I mean, in anything, not in any sort of religion, certainly. I mean, we can clearly see not in any sort of government or political establishment, not in his identity as a belter or whoever. So yeah, and that to me, that just makes this so much more traumatic, because then we hear him say to his friend, I believe in her, about Julie. So even though everything his friend was saying was right, and there's a very good chance, in my opinion, that if he actually had come face to face with Julie, well, maybe not, since he's been through some changes, but I don't know. But what Dawes had said about Julie spitting in his face if she met him, I mean, there's some reality to that. There's some accuracy to that, based on their different philosophies and approaches to life, and the fact that he's searching for her while she's trying to accomplish something that's important to her. But despite all of this, despite the fact that that could happen, or that she could just straight up murder him, as his friend said, he says, no, I believe in her. He has this belief in her as a person, and that she's worthy of help and of being found. And it's just so sad to hear in this episode that, you know, maybe for the first time in his life he has real faith in something represented by someone, like an actual person, as opposed to a cause on like a high level. It's not a political cause like you'd see Dawes or Fred or Avasarala having an investment in. But it is a cause nonetheless. It's his cause, is finding and helping Julie. And for the first time, you know, he has this belief in and faith in something. And then he sees that, and that just to me makes it so much worse. I mean, like I said, I thought from the beginning that she was most likely dead, but then this episode, both in terms of like building up my hope that maybe there's a chance she wasn't, and then just in really hitting home what that would mean for Miller if she was dead, was just brutal. And you know, okay, and this leads back, I'm sure, to the conversation he had with Dawes in the last episode, where Dawes is saying, maybe you haven't lost everything yet, and when you do, you'd be welcome home. So I guess this is it, right? This is it. He's lost everything now. He's lost the one thing or person that he had belief or faith in. So now what is left? This is gonna be rock bottom, and I'm very worried for him about what's gonna happen in the aftermath of this. And I mean, it could go positively. I feel like they've set it up enough with the idea that, you know, with everything Dawes was saying, that maybe if he stepped away from the life he'd been living and all of the cynicism that he'd had, and that perhaps he could find some sort of, I don't know, place or way of identifying with Belters, or so. I mean, I guess it's possible that he could go down that route, but I just feel like in the aftermath that there's more likely to be a spiral into, I don't know, some sort of depression, anger. I'm definitely worried for him. But I will say, if that had to happen, I guess this is the perfect moment for him to meet Holden, right? The eternal optimist, idealist Holden. So if anyone can like pick him up and make sure that he doesn't just utterly destroy himself, or maybe give him some sort of hope of something to continue on for, it's gonna be James Holden. So, okay, all right, that makes me feel a little better. I'm sorry guys, I'm just having these realizations in the moment, and going through a lot of emotions in the aftermath of that. But yeah, so obviously, I mean, that lead up to him finding Julie, him finding her, and then meeting up with Holden is the central point of this episode. So we see some other things, and those things are important. I think for Avasarala, the idea, the realization that a friend of hers, a longtime friend of hers, a friend of her father, has committed suicide because of her actions. I could see that in the future perhaps impacting the way that she thinks about her choices, the things that she does. We'll see. But I think it's another good example of the notion that people with these causes can often throw aside the actual people that they're supposedly fighting for in the name of the cause itself, which is what she seems to have done, and this is the consequence. So, and then, all right, other than that, we see that Fred has gathered some significant information that we're going to find out what that is from the data that Lopez had taken with him off of the ship, and now he has to decide what to do with it. Meanwhile, UN ships are coming towards Fred at Tycho Station, so conflict in the works there, ready to go down. And so I guess the things that I'm most curious about, looking forward to, if you could say that, even though there's also a sense of sadness and dread, looking forward to in the last 2 episodes of the season, is seeing the interactions between Miller and Holden, and really, I mean, Miller and the whole crew. I mean, I imagine there could be some interesting stuff with Naomi, since she's also a Belter, and Amos seemed to like what he saw of Miller, so we'll see what happens there, but I'll be interested to see that. I'll be interested to see, I'm sure we have to find out more about exactly what happened to Julie. Obviously, she was infected or something by that stuff that they found aboard the Anubis that ate everyone else. But I guess we'll have to wait and see some more details about that, exactly what happened and what it did to her and what it is. And I'll be interested to see what everyone's going to do now. I mean, this is who Holden and the crew were sent out to find. She's dead. Miller's entire quest and purpose, you know, she's gone, she's dead. So what's going to happen now? Is Holden just going to continue trying to figure out what happened? Maybe that's what he's going to bring Miller in on, say, you know, that will be the thing that drives him to keep going, is to try and find out what happened to Julie. I don't know. I don't know, guys. All I know is that that was a very upsetting moment for me there at the end. More, like I said, more upsetting than I thought it would be, but... Alright, so there are 2 episodes left in the season, as I mentioned, and I've been told that you really need to watch them together, that they're meant to be watched together. So my plan is someday in this upcoming week I'm going to sit down and watch them both, react to both of them, and then you should get both of those reaction videos in the next few days coming up. So, and I don't think I'm going to wait too long because I really want to know what happens now. Alright. Well, that's it for me today. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully I will see you next time. Bye.